Welcome to Friday Fraud Law Review. It is also Red Friday, and for those that care to, I'd like to take a little note of remembering our deployed military members who can't be at home like most of us can. So if anyone wants to share that moment with me, please do, and enjoy the video. Bye-bye now. Okay, happy Friday. It is Friday Fraud Law Review. Here's something from December 9th, so it's fairly recent, just the other day. This is in Massachusetts, reported out of Boston, I guess. The fellow was from Lawrence, and I'm not going to mention the fellow's name because he's been charged but not convicted. And as you know, I have a significant regard for innocent until proven guilty. I think we all should. Okay, but here's what this fellow is alleged to have done. In a nutshell, scheming to fraudulently obtain and misuse COVID-19 relief funds and stealing Social Security benefits. If you're going to do one, why not do the other, right? Okay, so this fellow is 57 years old, and the charging documents allege that in June of 2020, okay, so that's like 3 months after the COVID debacle started, this fellow submitted loan applications on behalf of an apparent interpreter business that he owned and operated. I won't mention the name of the business. So he sent the loan application to the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration, under the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, which was, of course, provided to provide loans to small businesses that suffered major economic injury due to COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns, generally speaking, and all that business. So this fellow is alleged to have obtained almost $75,000 in these loan um, funds from the SBA in the following month in July 2020. He falsely claimed on his application that his gross business revenue was $600,000 the prior year, when in fact it was less than 17,000. So he blatantly lied there, and I can guarantee you he didn't pay taxes on 600,000. Um, Although, of course, he said gross business revenue, but in fact, his gross business revenue was only 17,000, not even. He's alleged to also have improperly spent all of those loan funds received on non-business expenses. So double whammy there. He fraudulently obtains a loan, then he spends the money on things that it's not loaned for. Separately, ooh, this is bad. I'm dying to see what the sentence is going to be, but as you know, they tend to be a slap on the wrist relatively, usually. It is alleged that from 2001, so we're talking over 20 years ago, through June of 2022, this not so great fellow, assuming any of this is true, stole approximately $163,000 and change in Social Security benefits. Wow. They don't go into the details of how he did that. I'm curious. Like, was he claiming disability? Did he have a loved one who passed away? He didn't tell the SSA about it, and he kept getting their funds and keeping it for himself. There's so many ways, right? I don't think they're going to tell us. They do say that the wire fraud charge provides for a sentence of up to 20 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a fine of up to $250,000, or twice the gross gain or loss, whichever is greater, of his scheming. The charge of the theft of government money, which not sure which one they're talking about. Is it the SSA monies or is it the SBA monies? Either one sounds like theft of government money. Provides for a sentence of up to 10 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and another fine of $250,000, or twice the gross gain or loss, whichever is greater. Blah, blah, blah. Sentences are imposed by the federal district court judge based on the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. We already know that, right? And the guidelines are very loose so that they can use a little bit of discretion. But I think, as we have seen, the discretion has been on the very lenient side. And I know there might be factors to that are not untoward, like many times we see. It could be that with maybe the cost of incarceration for maybe a non-violent person is, outweighs the, the benefit of incarceration. But on the same token, if they damaged other people, and I'm not saying that's evident here, but like if they took someone else's money and can't pay it back, I'd like to think that that would be considered an assault of sorts, not physical, but it should lead to, I mean, when you cause someone else serious pain like that, I think it should lead to a much higher, you know, sentence. Anywho, they don't give us many details, guys. They do go on to say, of course, and I always appreciate this at the bottom, the defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. Going back up, those COVID-19 relief funds, not Social Security fraud, although in this case he did both. So much fraud came out of that, poorly handled funds with SBA and everything else. These state business associations and all that, small business association, state and or federal, I suppose. And I'm wondering if more money was spent on fraud in that program than was spent on legitimate. I really wonder. I wouldn't be surprised. Any thoughts? Talk to you later. Bye, guys.